Oh baby, Attack on Titan is back. It feels like just yesterday I was reviewing Season 3, and to finally have my favorite show once again return is such a blessing. This first episode was everything I was waiting for. Now, the second core to Attack on Titan Season 3 will just be 10 episodes, not your traditional 12, but as a manga reader, personally, I think that's perfectly fine with what this arc is. It's a lot different, it's a lot of action, a lot of character moments as well, but 10 episodes is the proper length. With Season 2, you could have easily seen that season being a 10 episode length season, and that would have been perfectly fine, and I'm glad that Wit Studio is making seasons as long or as short as they need to be. This first episode was amazing. I love all the subtle foreshadowing as you're creeping through the dark woods wondering, is this a blessing that the moon's not out and the Titans aren't attacking you? Is it a blessing that when you arrive to your home that there is no Titans in sight, not inside the walls, not outside, and that maybe you got the jump on the enemy, to then the crushing realization that you both were laying traps, that the monkey was waiting for you, transforming all these Titans around you, you can't go in, you can't go out, who will it be, Titans or humanity? That is what you want to see for your first episode in months for Attack on Titan. I love this week's episode, absolutely adored it. The opening song I really like. I also like the ending song. The ending visuals are whatever. The ending song, however, is really solid. But I really like what Attack on Titan does. Last opening for Season 3, a lot of people were like, oh, it's not intense enough. It's a lot of just really almost emotional song kind of playing throughout, but it perfectly fit what the first half of Season 3 was. This arc, however, is a lot more, you need the intensity, you need to get the emotions going, and I love what they did, almost kind of taking the old openings and kind of reinventing them for this arc. I thought it was intense, I like the visuals, and a lot of foreshadowing, I have to say, as a manga reader, which I really love, but obviously, if you know nothing about the source material, it won't be a spoiler for you. Absolutely love how the episode kicks off, having the emotional, almost torment between Eren and the rest, because you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You need to plug up the holes in these walls and figure out what was in that basement all along, and it's obvious why you'd be shaking and almost shitting your pants, because that's a lot of weight to have. And I love how you have someone like Armin who is really trying to comfort his best friend, being like, are you scared? And Eren, of course, trying to play it off because he can't be scared in this moment. He needs to be the hero that everyone is going to look at, not waste his energy, and be the one who can plug up the holes. And I love that conversation because you're seeing a lot of reflecting on Season 1 content, the first episode, seeing how Eren used to believe that he almost was just someone with no plans, no real beliefs, just staring up in the sky, and that passion that Armin had to be someone outside the walls, really push back, is what led him to really try so hard, and what led his kind of passion to really take hold and take flight. And I love that. I love that simple moment between Armin and Eren because it's something you don't get to see too often anymore with Attack on Titan because they are at war essentially. It's life or death, and it's nice to have moments where they can reflect and just kind of take comfort in the other. And because Armin was able to comfort Eren, he was able to stop shaking and really kind of put his mind in just his overall eyes towards the goal, which is protect humanity, which lets him have that burning passion so fear doesn't take hold. Why, in the middle of a battle, why could Eren jump into a Titan's mouth to save Armin? Because of that passion not letting fear take hold of him. And I love that. It's such an emotional and perfect moment to kick off the episode. I'm sure some people would be like, oh, I just want to see action right off the bat. But you need the character moments. What makes Attack on Titan so great is how well Isayama built his characters from day one. And the deeper you go into the series, the more you're seeing the foreshadowing and clues just kind of click. And these moments are so necessary to really make you care about these characters. In this episode, Armin gets pretty much promoted to a boss. You know, we're having characters like Erwin put full trust in Armin, saying you are one of humanity's greatest assets. Eren, of course, when you look at him, the guy who can transform into a Titan shifter, of course, he is going to be one of humanity's greatest assets. But someone like Armin is also not someone to push around. He is one of the smartest characters in this show. And I love how even when he's promoted to leader, you'll see a lot of the soldiers almost like want to push back, but you're seeing why Armin does gain the trust of very high-ranking officials. He thinks outside the box. He realizes that, you know, the enemy wouldn't know that we know Titans were in the walls. They weren't around when the first cracks happened in Season 1. So Armin recognizes that the most logical conclusion is they're not outside, they're not in the buildings, they have to be in the walls. I like how Armin, he doesn't just jump to conclusions for no reason. He thinks outside the box, he takes his past experiences and applies it to the current situation. Even if he's shaking in fear because he's a leader and doesn't think he has the spine to be one, you're seeing that real raw determination take hold. And I love the reveal when Reiner does pop out and just slices a throat, to then Levi charging down a wall, slicing through. That moment I've been waiting for a while, and it did not disappoint. Obviously, it didn't get the job done, as we wouldn't have much of a season 3 if Reiner was taken out that quickly, but it was still such a badass moment because Levi was ready. As soon as that wall popped out, he was ready to charge down, and when he recognized that it wasn't going to kill him, he jumped out of the way. I love it. You can tell, this, even if you've never read the manga, the amount of stuff that's going to happen in this action. Titans versus the Scouts. Like, there's so many things that can happen. You got to deal with the outside Titans, you got to deal with the inside. How is Eren going to take hold? Like, it's just such a great plan on both sides in terms of how they wanted to fill the hole, but also how Reiner and them wanted to combat it. Because Eren, he gets weaker the more he uses his Titan. They probably wanted him to fill both of the holes, and then, once he was weak, they could easily take him out. I love how both sides actually had a pretty good plan, but both sides also weren't stupid and recognized that the other could possibly figure out what they were doing, and both sides were ready. And I love how Erwin just like, this is what we both wanted. We wanted to cage in the other, so now it's time to see humanity or Titans. That is just such an inspiring moment, especially with episode 12 when he gave the speech to the people and it kind of felt like humanity could finally take back the wall. It was such an inspiring speech, and that moment at the very end with him just being like, even if it looks like the worst case scenario, which it is, he still isn't letting it kind of take hold of him. He's saying like, this is what we need to happen, let's take them out and let's see if humanity is greater than Titans. That was so awesome. It was just such a great episode from the character kind of development side and just kind of reflecting on the past and really seeing these relationships flourish, seeing that Armin is actually being recognized as someone who's a very key asset to this world, and his intelligence is probably the reason why Eren isn't killed right now or got aid or anything like that, because literally they would have walked into the trap. They filled one hole, it looked all good, and Armin was able to piece together what happened because of his past interactions with the walls and things like that, and able to think outside the box. You're seeing Eren's raw determination to not give up, and just the idea that they're all cloaked so they wouldn't be able to piece together which one is actually Eren until it's too late. Every side had a really solid plan, and that's what I love about Attack on Titan. It's not just a big bunch of dumb Titans fighting each other. There's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of planning that goes into this, and just the really realistic and amazing character development that you see, especially the more you watch. I really recommend for anime onlys, after season 3 finishes, watch season 1 all the way through season 3. You'll notice a lot of things click, and even more once you see season 4 and all these reveals. That's what I love about the world development and overall character development for Attack on Titan. It's not something that just gets better over time. It does get better over time, but those past arcs, those past interactions and relationships make so much more sense because they were building blocks and setup points all along without us realizing. This was an incredible first episode of Attack on Titan Season 3, Part 2. I will obviously just be calling it Season 3 in the title, with obviously episode whatever it is, 50 I believe, because I'm not calling it Part 2 in the title. That's dumb. However, I can understand why Wit Studio would call it Part 2. This was everything I was waiting for. If there wasn't as much action near the end, I could see maybe a lot of anime onlys being like, would have been an underwhelming first episode, which I would disagree with. However, this had everything that makes Attack on Titan great. The shocking reveals, things that you didn't see coming, the cliffhanger to make you foaming at the mouth, needing more, to the really raw and emotional setup and just overall reflecting moments that you have with characters like Eren and Armin, Mikasa, and even Levi as well as Erwin. I love this episode. This was everything that I was hoping for, and even a little bit more. I've been dying to see this animated, and I'm glad Wit Studio took their time rather than pumping out an unfinished product, taking the time to make this arc, which is very action heavy, into something that will be truly memorable and probably the best battle we've seen in the anime. It was definitely one of the best battles in the manga, and knowing that they took the time to refine it, I can easily see this also becoming the best battle we've seen up to this point in the anime. If there's one thing Attack on Titan is so good at, is just getting the music to perfectly match the atmosphere at hand. It doesn't matter if you're kicking off with the opening to set the mood, or just when you see Titans randomly appear and just in such a large number, the music is just in your face, really making you tense up, but also feel a little heroic. So you feel like the troops being ready for battle. Even if it looks like a life or death situation, they are ready to kick ass and take names. And even if Eren sees this as such a dire situation, he's going to go head first. All of them are. There's going to be casualties, there's going to be losses, but you know that won't stop them. They'll keep pushing forward until the last man is standing, and you know the enemy side will do the same. And that's what I love about this situation. It is such a hopeless situation honestly on both sides, but you could easily see both sides surviving if the right hand is dealt to them, but you know they're not going to go down without a fight. The music was just so perfect in this episode, in the slower moments, in the intense moments, and I really like the opening and ending. The ending visuals are kind of whatever, but I like the songs in both, and it really sets the mood and atmosphere for what this arc is truly all about. I am so ready. The voice actors were absolutely killing it, and I think Eren really stole his show, especially in those moments where he was trying to hide his fear and then picked himself back up, ready to head on right to the end goal, with Armin being a very close second, especially with how nervous he was with being promoted to a leader. Such good voice acting and performances from the cast as a whole. For everyone who watched this week's episode of Attack on Titan Season 3, Manga Readers Anime Originals, what did you think? Let me know down in that comment section below. Be sure to leave a like if you did enjoy, and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.